Okay, everyone, let's get started. I've already streamed on YouTube channel, right? Okay, welcome to Sayar Robin's YouTube channel. Let's get started. Well, today we're going to talk about the quadratic things. Okay, everyone, let's get started. Oh my God. On YouTube channel, right? I'm sorry, I forgot to turn off the speaker on YouTube. That's why so sounds are a bit mixing and disturbing us. Well, okay, let's get started. Well, so I'm going to share my screen. Okay, now you are going to learn about the quadratic stuff and quadratic things. So I just like you all to concentrate on my work, which is really important in not only extended mathematics, but also in addition mathematics, right? I think some of you guys already learned about the quadratic stuff, but today you are not going to learn specifically in details about the quadratic equations, right? Well, okay, here we go. Quadratic, right? I'm going to use the yellow color first. Okay. So you very often heard about the quadratic, right? So in your lessons in mathematics, well, specifically, we are not going to classify into 4 parts, right? So first of all, we are going to say the quadratic expressions, right? EX, PR, ESSIO, and quadratic expressions, right? And then secondly, so we have to say quadratic equations. Quadratic equations and then quadratic function. And then finally, we often say the quadratic inequality. So you all have to be learned in detail, and then you all have to be reflect yourself for the time being why you are learning what I'm teaching you are. After that, so you all have to be write the feedback in the Google Classroom that's essentially needed for all of the learners, right? Okay, expressions. What is the expressions? So quadratic. So everybody, you already know the polynomial, which is in degree 2, is called a quadratic, which is in degree 3 is called cubic, right? That's why we often write the x squared plus and then x plus and then c, right? So if you're going to change into the standard form, so we have to import the coefficient of x squared as a, the coefficient of x as b, right? A squared plus bx plus c. So we are not going to write probably ax squared plus bx plus c. Sometimes you might see the correct expression with the capital letter A, x squared plus the capital letter B plus capital letter C, whatever it is, it doesn't really matter for your mathematics idea or the concept, but that's a symbol, right? So you might use any symbol you like, whether it is capital letter or the small letter, right? It doesn't impact to the idea and the main concept. Well, a squared plus bx plus c, and then so this is if you are going to write down simply like this, that is called expression. Okay, what is equation? So equation, so we have to understand that ax squared plus bx plus c must be equal to 0. If you couldn't see ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0, that has to be called equation. What kind of equation is this? Quadratic equation, right? If you're gonna see ax cubed plus bx squared plus cx plus d is equal to 0, which is called cubic equation. Okay, whenever you see the polynomial left hand side and the 0 is right hand side. Okay, so that is called the equation, right? Quadratic equation and a cubic equation and linear equation. Whatever equations you very often see that, which is called, which has to be left hand side is the polynomial, and the right hand side gonna be the 0. However, sometimes you might see this some tricky, something like this, right? 2x squared minus 3x equal to 7. So what kind of things is this, right? So you might ask me. So you can change into the standard form of the quadratic equation like this. Okay, that becomes the quadratic equation form. Okay, right hand side is going to be 0. If you are able to change the expression you have into right hand side 0, left hand side polynomial or the expression, that becomes equation. Understand?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Benjamin. Well, okay. Is there any question so far?
No, sir.
You have questions?
No, sir.
Music? What about you?
No, sir.
All
No,
right.
no.
All right. Okay. Well, so functions, so expressions, so equation and functions. So now we get into functions, right? So ax squared plus bx plus c, whatever you see the expression with y, or sometimes the expression comes up with f or x, or maybe g of x or h of the whatever f or x, whatever the number of x, the letter of x, okay, it doesn't really matter. And then, so this is basically, we have to understand a squared plus bx plus c, right? Sometimes y is equal to blah, blah, and the f is equal to blah, blah. This is called a function. So if you're gonna substitute some number you like into x, you have to some value. Okay, that is called functions. Okay, each and every x value has a connection with the another value. Okay, which is represented to the y. Okay, so sometimes known as f or x. So in the function idea, so we often say y is equal to f or x. Everybody know about that, right? Y is equal to f of x. Okay, this is called function. Okay, so let's move on to the inequality, right? Ax squared, that's obviously, plus bx plus c. Inequality, what is inequality? So how do you understand the inequality? Inequality is, simply not equality. Okay, I'm not making any jokes. That's truly correct, right? Well, a squared plus bx plus c is greater than 0, and then ax squared plus bx plus c greater than or equal to 0, and then a squared plus bx plus c less than 0, a squared plus bx plus c less than or equal to 0. Okay, there are 4 types of inequality in mathematics, right? Greater than or equal, less than or equal. All right, everybody, do you all understand how we can classify into the quadratic things? Understand?
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so you have to use these terminologies exactly for noun, expression, equation, function, inequality. That can be used as not only in the quadratic, and also other types of expressions, right? So maybe cubic and maybe the polynomial integral 4, 5, and 6, and so on, right? So expressions, okay, we can write down the expression and algebra, and the number has been negated. Okay, nothing is going to attach to the expression. If something's attached to that expression, it becomes equation or function or inequality. Okay, you have to understand like that. Okay, something expression is equal to 0, we have to understand that's equation. Okay, some expression is equal to y naught f or x, that is also known as the function. Okay, finally, so some expressions are greater than or less than 0. Okay, that is called inequality. That's why we are now going to learn about the quadratic expression, equation, function, and inequality. Okay, from all of them, we are now going to focus on equation. Okay, this part. Okay, we are not going to study about the equation. Okay, so what we are not going to study about the quadratic equations. I'm going to simply answer how to solve it. How we are going to solve quadratic equation. Okay, quadratic equation. Solving the quadratic equation means we are not going to find unknown. In mathematics, you are not going to solve something equations, whatever it is quadratic or not. That's gonna be, you are about to find n of x. Everybody understand?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Maybe NO, other NOs, not only x, because we very often use the x as an NO in expressions or the equations in mathematics, right? That's why we often say x. In fact, so we are gonna find the NO if you're going to solve the equations, right? We are not going to solve the quadratic equations. Okay, how many types of solving quadratic equations have you ever learned before? Okay, so I'm gonna review. For example, x squared minus 3x equal to 0. How are you going to solve this quadratic equation? Okay, so we are not gonna take the common factors.
X.
Take out the common factor x first. So take out the common factors, x minus 3 equal to 0. X is equal to 0 or x minus 3 is equal to 0. X is equal to 0 or x is equal to 3. Okay, this is taking out method. Okay, we have collected the like term. Okay, like term is x here. Okay, we have collected the like term. And then, so some in some textbooks you might see as taking out method. Then let's move on. Okay, a squared minus 3x minus 4 equal to 0. How are you going to solve these equations? So we are not going to factorize simply by using cross method, right? The possible factors of x squared are x and x, and the possible factors of 4 are the 4 and 1 or 2 and 2. For this equation, so we better use 4 and 1. Okay, so you already have a very big experience to factorize in this way. When you were young, maybe primary 6 or secondary 1 or 2, right? So that's why here you go negative. That's why so we have to use the opposite sign for 4 and 1. So we are not going to multiply 4 and x is going to be 4x, and then 1 and 8 is going to be 1x. If you're going to solve these two things, so we have to check by subtracting. That's why it's going to be 3x. Okay, this is a middle term. Okay, it's going to be correct. So the middle term is negative 3x. So we're not going to think about to get negative 3x. So this must be negative 4x, this must be positive 1x, right? And then to get negative 4x, so this one must be negative. To get the positive 1x, this one must be positive. Okay, finally, we have the correct factors to given quadratic equations, right? So x minus 4 times and then x plus 1 equal to 0, and then x is equal to 4 or x is equal to negative 1. Everybody, do you all remember these ways that you have learned before?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, okay, let's move on. This is called the cross method. This is taking out methods. This is cross method, right? Now we're gonna move on to completing the square method. Okay, completing the square method. Completing the square method. Okay, so complete the square method. The title is very clear. So we have to complete the square. Okay, you have to understand from this point. Complete the square. Okay, to solve the quadratic equations. For example, x squared minus 2x minus 3 equal to 0. Let's think about these equations. Okay, we won't use the cross method anymore because now we are going to study about the completing the square method. Okay, before you use the completing the square method, the most important thing is to check whether the coefficient is 1 or not before x squared. Okay, so I'm going to repeat the coefficient of x squared. What is the coefficient of x squared in this expression? Coefficient of x squared. Okay, the coefficient of x squared is -2. The coefficient of x squared is -5. The coefficient of x squared is 2 that. The coefficient of x squared is 3. In this expression, what is the coefficient of x squared?
1.
Thank you very much. Exactly. Right. Okay, if you're gonna use the completing square method, so you have to check whether the coefficient of x squared is 1 or not, right? So if it's 1, so you can continue. If it's not 1, so you have to try to get the coefficient of x squared becomes 1. Okay? So I'm going to repeat. If the coefficient of x squared is not 1, then you have to try to get 1 in the coefficient of x squared. Okay? So we are not going to study very soon. Okay? Now, this is already 1 in the coefficient of x squared. That's why we can move on the other steps, right? Okay, next step is x squared minus 2x is equal to +3. Okay, so we have to move constant term to the right hand side. And then we are not going to consider which number is going to complete in this space, right? If you're going to complete in this space, so you have to do both sides at the same time because of the equation properties, right? In any types of equation, whatever you do in the left-hand side, you have to do the right-hand side too, okay? So we are now going to think about what kind of things we are going to complete, right? Complete. X, 2x, here we go, 2x. The coefficient of x is 2, right? So you have to learn in shortcut way. So the coefficient of x is equal to, here we go, 2, and then 5, and then -3, and then 7, something like this. This is x, 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 x. Coefficient of x is equal to 2. So if you're gonna think about the square, you just need to complete in this equation must be 2 is divided by 2. 2 is divided by 2. 2 is divided by 2 is gonna be 1. So you have to complete 1 square. Okay, you have to complete 1 square. So I'm gonna erase it. So complete number is 1 square. Here we go. The coefficient of x is equal to 5. So you have to divide by 2, and then 5 over 2 is going to be 5 over 2 square. Okay, 5 over square over 2, the whole square is the things you have to complete. So the coefficient of x is -3. So -3 over 2, that need to be raised to the power 2. -3 over 2 the whole square. Okay, and then 7 over x. So the 7x, the coefficient of 7 must be divided by 2. That's gonna be 7 over 2 the whole square. Okay, which is to be completed to the equation. Okay, in this equation, everybody, you see the coefficient of x is equal to -2. Okay, you can say the -2. -2 is divided by 2. That's going to be -1. Okay, -1 must be raised to the power 2. So that's going to be +1 square. Okay, you can directly write down here +1 square and then +1 square. Okay, why? Teacher, why are you doing like this? Okay, I'm going to explain you the concept later on. Okay, for the time being, how we are not going to approach the equation to get the correct answer. This is just a step and the method. Okay, why we are not doing like this? I have many answers to give you. Okay, that's more interesting than rather than the steps we are not approaching to get the answers, right? Okay. Okay, first of all, for all people, or for all students, you just need to learn the methods and the steps how to get approached, right? So x squared minus 2x plus 1, if you're going to see these three things, so you are able to change into the x minus 1 the whole square. See how why happens minus? Okay, because of this minus. If you are going to see the positive sign, here is positive 2. Okay, equal to 3 plus 1 square is going to be 4. And then x minus 1 square is going to be plus or minus square root of 4. So x minus 1 is equal to plus or minus square root of 4 is 2. X is equal to negative 1 became positive 1 plus or minus 2. X is equal to 1 plus 2 is 3, or 1 minus 2 is equal to negative 1. This is final answer. Okay. So the problems want you to solve the quadratic equation by using complete square method. You have no option. You have to use this method. Even though if you're going to use the other ways to get the correct answer, but you won't get any mark. Everybody understand?
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, let's move on to the next problems. Well, so I'm going to show you the next problem as an example. Here we go. I'm going to copy some problems here. Here we go. So x squared minus 2x minus 100, right? Okay, let's do it. X squared minus 2x minus 100 is equal to 0. Okay, so we have to check whether the coefficient of 1 is 1 or not. Okay, this is already 1. We don't need to do anything for that, so we can move the other steps directly. So x squared minus 2x equal to 100, right? We have to move constant term to the right hand side first. And then so we are not going to consider which must be completed. Okay, the coefficient of x is equal to 2 here. So x squared minus 2x, and then the coefficient of x is equal to negative 2, which is divided by 2 is going to be negative 1, right? Negative 1 is raised to the power 2 is going to be 1 squared, right? That's why we must add 1 squared to both sides. 100 plus 1 squared. Okay. We are not going to move on. So x here minus, that's why it became minus. And then this one is plus 1. That's why we have to write on the plus 1, and the square is equal to 101, right? X minus 1 is equal to plus or minus square root of 101. Okay. And then x is equal to positive 1 plus root 101, or positive 1 minus root 101. Okay, everybody understand? Okay, so could you please tell me the answers by using your calculator? Is this equal to 1 plus square root of 101? By giving 3 significant figures. 3 significant figures. Can someone answer me? What is
11.0.
Okay, good, correct, right, 11.0, actually 11.049, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's right. And then, or 1 minus square root of 101, what is the answer?
Minus 9.04.
Minus 9.04, okay, that's all, okay? So everybody, can you do yourself for the kind of problems? Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. Okay. So I'm gonna show you the problems which are like the coefficient of x squared is not 1 anymore. Okay, so I'm gonna copy 3x squared equal to 2 into 3x plus 2, right? 3x squared equal to 2 into 3x plus 2, right? Okay, so 3x squared is equal to, okay, we are not going to expand, and then 6x and then plus 4, right? and then 3x squared minus 6x minus 4 equal to 0. Everybody, you understand? Okay, after that, what we are not going to do is the coefficient of x squared is not 1, 3. Okay, how are you going to do to get 1 in coefficient of x squared? So we have to simply divide throughout by 3. Okay, we are not going to divide throughout by 3. It's gonna be 1 in the coefficient of x squared. The coefficient of x squared is gonna be 4. You just need to divide throughout by 4. It becomes 1 in the coefficient of x squared. Okay, everybody, you know, with the command signs, that is the easiest step, right? So we are not going to divide throughout by 3. It becomes x squared minus 6x is divided by 3 is going to be 2x minus 4 is divided by 3 is going to be 4 over 3 is equal to 0. And then x squared minus 2x is equal to 4 over 3. Okay, so x squared minus 2x equal to 4 over 3. What we are not going to complete. So we have to consider the coefficient of x squared is here we could note negative 2. Right, negative 2 is divided by 2 is going to be negative 1. Negative 1 is raised to the power 2 is going to be positive 1. Okay, this is also positive 1 square. Okay, let's say positive 1 square. Okay, so it's going to be positive 1 square and then positive 1 square. So these three things can be changed into x minus 1 the whole square. So that you've already learned earlier. So 4 over 3 plus 1 square is 1 equal to 7 over 3. And then x minus 1 the whole square. X minus 1 is going to be plus or minus square root of 7 over 3. So you have to draw log for 7, which can cover both numerator and denominator. 7 over 3. Some students make like this, 7 over 3. Okay, that's wrong. That's wrong. That's correct, right? So you have to draw you already get signs to cover both numerator and the denominator too. Well, x is equal to negative 1, but going to be positive 1 plus or minus square root of 7 out of 3. Okay, by giving 3 significant figures. So you might leave your answer as a finest step, right? Okay, this is quadratic equations by using completing the square method. Solving quadratic equation by using completing the square methods. Okay, in the problems, you know, so if you won't see any specific instructions, so you might choose the way you like to get the correct answer. So what I mean is you might even use the scientific calculator by using modified 3, right? So in solving quadratic equations, the problems already instruct you specifically, okay, using quadratic formula or using completing the square method. If you do not see anything special, okay, so you can use the way you like. That's not a problem for you, okay? But that is impossible to lose the marks because you didn't see any specific instruction in the problem to solve the quadratic equations, right? And then, so tomorrow examination, you will see this some problems which is related to the quadratic equations, right? So I just want you to carry out all of the problems correctly. So I'm going to repeat all of the problems that came from the 14 topics, which are altogether 17 marks. 70 marks, right? To be honest, almost problems are very easy. Okay, no sweat, no challenge, right? However, you just need to review all of the problems, like you know. Every students need to study and review. Otherwise, you'll remember even a small topic and a small idea, right? Okay, I hope so. You all will be able to answer to get the full mark tomorrow. Okay, I'm gonna stop my live streaming and then I'm gonna give you some instructions to carry out the problems, okay?